Welcome into the show, everybody. Mark Farzy here for the Farzy Show. It's nice to have you along for the ride. This show is brought to you by the wonderful people of MyBookie, mybookie.ag. So a bit of a late night with the 8:07 start time for the Phillies. Had a lot of fun with you guys for Fighting's post game over on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. So a lot of things happened yesterday. First and foremost, I couldn't help but think. I was rolling around in my brain, thinking about game one, thinking about Kyle Schwarber, the fact that he hasn't really gotten it going yet, and the fact that last year he really got it going in the NLCS. So I'm thinking, is he right now sitting on a fastball from Zach Gallen over the heart of the – is he just sitting on a fastball, waiting patiently to hit a fastball off Zach Gallen? And you know what ended up happening? That's exactly what ended up happening. He was sitting on that fastball since he watched the beer out of his hair Thursday night. I'm going to get a fastball. I'm going to smash it. From Zach Wheeler dominating, from Kyle Schwarber having everybody, I would say jump out of your seat. Every other stadium, you would say jump out of your seat. Citizens Bank Park, they're already out of your seat. I think it was Ron Darling who said last night, Citizens Bank Park's the only park where you don't need seats. And that's so true, especially in the postseason. And that's what ended up taking place last night. It was absolutely incredible, that atmosphere, that crowd. It was coming through the TV. It was palpable. You could feel it. And then you listen to Bryce Harper, his home run, and you hear it. You hear the crack of the bat, and then you see. Did you guys see the smoke that happened? The dust, the dirt that flew off that baseball when he made contact and hit it 420 feet to center field. Wow, that was something else. That was something else. And then Nick Castellanos can't stop hitting home runs. There's a couple of historic numbers about that game last night and about this run that the Phillies are on. And it's not just last night's game, but it's a bunch of them. And it's speaking of a bunch, it's a bunch for Zach Wheeler in particular, because he was spectacular again last night. And here's what stuck out. Here's one number that stuck out to me. Getting this from Dan Roach of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Booney, what's up? Lowest opponent's OPS, minimum 9 postseason starts. Zach Wheeler is number one with a 445 OPS by his opponents. You know who else is on this list? Bob Gibson is 4. Nate Eovaldi, believe it or not, is 5 on this list. Madison Bumgarner, who had that great run with the Giants, of course, he's at 6. Cliff Lee is 7th with a 547 OPS for opponents. Zach Wheeler, top of the list, 445 in his OPS. Some other numbers that jumped out about this game and this start with Zach Wheeler and what it all means coming back to this. This is what I love about baseball, all the historical names that you can throw out there, because this one is right up there as well. First off, you just heard the name Bob Gibson. You heard a couple of local favorites there with Roy Halladay. With Cliff Lee. But how about this? This is from Paul Casella. This is lowest whip by a pitcher in Major League Baseball postseason history. Minimum 5 starts, okay? Zach Wheeler at 70.70. Roy Halladay at 0.74. Jim Longborg at 0.78. And then Sandy Koufax at 0.82. Sandy Koufax, ladies. Roy Halladay. What we are seeing right now from Zach Wheeler is something special. And I know that there's a couple of pitches that he'd like to have back over the last 2 postseason starts that he's made. But the vast majority of these starts have been incredible for him. And I know it's not, 7 scoreless, 8 scoreless, a complete game shutout or anything like that, which used to be the standard. Now the standard is, you give me 6 innings, 2-run baseball, we good. Well, he's the man to do it time and time again, and everything he had was nasty and efficient last night. He got through those 6 innings, 81 pitches for Zach Wheeler last night. 6 innings, 81 pitches. Obviously could have gone longer, but they want to get ahead of it, as what Rob Thompson usually does in these games. Didn't do it the last time out, unfortunately. He did it this time out, and he got him out of that jam. You have Jose Alvarado come in. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in to pitch that 7th inning. He has some issues. Alvarado comes in to quiet the storm. Kimbrel comes in to close it out. But it all started with the way that Zach Wheeler was able to start this game out last night. Phillies get the 5-3 win. Wheeler, so efficient. And the thing that really jumped out to me about how efficient he was, he had 8 strikeouts last night. I want to say 5 of them came with 4 or fewer pitches. That is efficiency. He had 1 strikeout that was on 3 pitches. He had 4 strikeouts that were on 4 pitches. That's not even giving you walk into the batter's box. I don't even stand a chance. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know why I'm here, but here I am. And strike 3, see you later. Got 1 strikeout on a curveball, a lot on the fastball, a couple on the sinker. He was really all over the place when it came to his pitch selection last night in a good way. Usually if you say he's all over the place as a pitcher, it means you're being wild. He was all over the place in terms of comfort with pitch selection and being able to hit any spot he wanted to last night. Gives up a hit to Carroll Corbin to start things off there in the first inning. And then he shuts down the next 15 batters. Sits down the next 15 batters. They don't get another hit until the 6th inning when Evan Longoria led off with a single. Man, what you are seeing from him is unreal. What you're seeing from other guys in this lineup as well is something special. Guys like now Nick Castellanos, who has hit 5 home runs in a 3-game span. That's the most since Reggie Jackson in 1977. There's some historic numbers right there. You have Kyle Schwarber talking about how by the time his career is over, or he said when his career is over, he's never going to forget what it's like to walk up to the plate in a playoff game. Could you imagine the chills you must be getting? First off, the desire and the want to watch a guy like Zach Wheeler dominated on the mound, and then you and your desire and your want to go into the batter's box and continue that kind of push, continue that kind of vibe, and he does it on the first pitch fastball. Absolutely unbelievable. And then Bryce Harper goes out there last night as well in that same inning, in the first inning, and hits a home run, hits that 420-foot home run to center field. It was made for TV last night. And they came to a point going into that 6th inning where I'm like, it's a little too easy. Are we really going to have a game where we're not sweating at all? Maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was the Eagles game, my emotions from the Eagles game against the Jets bleeding into how my emotions were being handled during this game last night. I'm like, I can take an easy one. Sure, just go ahead and roll this team. Let's not have an issue in game 1 at all. Then there are a couple of instances where you got guys on base. He didn't bring him home. He had a base-loaded situation. He grounded into a double play to end the inning. JT Realmuto, and he didn't catch it. Like, all right, you know what? If you're not going to tack on, and that's the cross I have to bear for this game, fine. And then Perdomo goes up there, gets a 2-run home run. Just like that in the 6th inning. You get Evan Longoria breaks the 15 consecutive batters being sat down. He breaks that streak. Perdomo goes up there. He hits the 2-run home run all of a sudden. Oh, okay, it's 5-2 ball game. This is interesting. Wheeler's done after that inning. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in. He makes you sweat a little bit. And then Alvarado comes in and takes care of that. And Craig Kimbrell comes in and gets a double play. Alec Bohm at third base, fielding that ball in the 9th inning was perfect. Perfect pick by Alec Bohm. Able to throw it around the horn for that double play, that 5-4-3 double play to get out of that jam for Craig Jam. Just end it for Craig Kimbrell. This Phillies team is just so special. And they are so much fun to watch. Think about this. You get great pitching, you get home runs. What more do you need? I like a little small ball. No, I'm good. Yes, I would like to hit with runners in scoring position. I equated it last night on the postgame show, too. You know what? The Eagles are having trouble scoring in the red zone, even though I think they were 2 for 3 in the red zone against the Jets. I would have liked more opportunities in the red zone. But anyway, the big thing we've been talking about with the Eagles this season is not being able to score in the red zone. That is the equivalent to runners in scoring position for the Phillies. And last night wasn't exactly the best example of them scoring with runners in scoring position, obviously, last night. For example, 0 for 13. Not exactly great. Oh, excuse me. You know what? This is where you do too much research and you get bundled up in your box scores. I'm sorry. Phillies last night were 3 for 13. No, they weren't. Wrong box score again. Damn it, Farzetta. Scoozy. I know they struggled. Let's just say they struggled. We all know they struggled. Now it's going to bother me if I don't get it. So here's my obsessive compulsiveness coming back. 2 for 10. There we go. That sounds better. Actually, it doesn't. But 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position last night. Yeah, if you go ahead and face a team like the Rangers with the way they're hitting the baseball right now, you're not going to get away with 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So we can obviously say that. I mentioned Nick Castellanos and his home run capabilities. Let me ask you a question right now for the chat, just for a side little thing of fun here. They get the shots of Liam right there behind home plate, right? What did your dad do? Or what could your dad do that would make you lose your mind the way Liam loses his mind over his dad hitting postseason home runs? What could your dad do? I'll tell you what my dad did. Like, he was, in terms of being a handyman around the house, just he could do anything. You could do anything. Just I'd marvel at it. Like, we got to call a guy for this? I'd be a kid. We got to call a guy. Now, this is why I don't call people for this. I wish I was as good as my dad in this regard, but maybe I should call people from time to time. But he'd just do anything around the house. You got to do it. You work on your house. It's better when you work on your house. It's kind of the lesson I grew up with. What is it that your dad would do that make you go, oh, but now I wouldn't freak out exactly like that, but probably the closest to, just like that. So Phillies get another win in the postseason. They just keep on rolling. We'll hear from Rob Thompson as the show goes on today. We'll hear from Kyle Schwarber as the show goes on today. And we will hear from Nick Sirianni and everything he had to say about last night's game with the Phillies. With Kyle Schwarber walking the play. Nick Sirianni talking about Lane Johnson. Nick Sirianni talking about what went on with the play calling. Because I know a lot of Eagles fans were having a lot of issues, myself included, with the play calling. Sirianni basically goes back and he calls it references to the turnovers, and he doesn't really give the goods when it comes to Brian Johnson as the play caller on this offense. One thing I was surprised by, everything I have heard to this point is that the plays have been called by Brian Johnson. Nick Sirianni has very little to do with the play calling. He has everything to do with the game plan, but he doesn't have much to do with the play calling, as you would assume. And as I talked about yesterday, fourth downs, yeah, sure, you'll get involved in that. But everything else falls on Brian Johnson's plate. This is the first time I listened to Nick Sirianni, and I thought, maybe he's got a little bit more to do this than I thought. Maybe he's also just covering for his offensive coordinator and play caller, and then maybe he actually does have his hands on this more than I thought. So we'll hear from Nick Sirianni coming up in a second. And we'll walk you all throughout all that happened in that Jets game, because it was not fun. It was not fun, that's for sure. And the Eagles are going to have to shake this one off. We'll talk about the reports that are out there regarding Lane Johnson, allegedly not as bad as as the Eagles originally thought, and the Eagles scouring the entire NFL for help in the secondary. That's what's being said about your Philadelphia Eagles between this Jets game and going into this Miami game Sunday night in South Philadelphia. What a week we have ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. What a week. No matter what the Phillies do. Yes, it'll make us feel great, and it's awesome. There's nothing like postseason baseball. And then the anticipation if the Eagles can bounce back after that disappointing loss to the Jets. Cowboys won last night, by the way. In Monday Night Football. So there's that. All right. Let's get into some of this stuff here. First and foremost, just Zach Wheeler. As I mentioned, 81 pitches, 6 innings, 2 runs, both of them earned, coming on that home run, just 3 hits, 8 strikeouts. Lowers his postseason ERA to 2.37. Not too shabby. Zach Gallen last night, ERA of the postseason now just under 5. 4.96. Gives up 3 home runs. 5 runs, all of them earned on 8 hits and 5 innings of work. He throws 88 pitches. So there you go. The word was used by Lovolo after the game, the manager there, the Diamondbacks. The word ambush was used. The Phillies ambushed Zach Wheeler. Whenever I hear that, I go, did Zach Gallen not expect them to swing? Oh, I'm surprised they've ambushed me. Oh, no. They brought 2 bats to the plate, you know? I always find that word to be hilarious. But in this, when it's used in this context. But that's the word he used, ambushed. So Rob Thompson, here's Rob Thompson talking about whether or not they ambushed Zach Gallen and what the game plan was going in against Zach Gallen.
Well, he's a strike thrower, so yeah, being aggressive against him is kind of the plan. But I thought we had good at bats against him. I think that I've seen Zach Gallen better than that, if you will. But he's still a good pitcher. But I thought we had good at bats against him.
Good at bats. If good at bats just means go up there hacking, then by all means, you go up there hacking. Brandon Marsh was swinging at first pitches. For the most part, Nick Castellanos was not. You rarely see that from Nick Castellanos. He's usually the one that is hacking at the first pitch. Obviously, Harper did it. Schwarber did it. Guys were swinging early in counts. Trey Turner did it, I think, later in the game when he got his double. We'll go through the game in a second. But they just went up there knowing Zach Gallen was going to go up there throwing strikes. That's what he does. That's been his MO. I'm not comparing the two pitchers in terms of who's better, but obviously Roy Halladay is great, better. But Roy Halladay would go in there and just pound the strike zone. Cliff Lee would just go in there and just pound the strike zone. So if guys are guessing right, you're going to get shelled pretty quickly. And we've seen that happen to Cliff Lee before, certainly. We've seen that happen to pitchers that like to pound the strike zone. Sometimes guys just go up there with the right mindset. They guess right. They sit fastball, and there's the fastball. It's not just about landing the sinker in there perfectly or the curveball in there perfectly or the slider in there that is just hitting the outside corner of the plate away from a right-handed hitter, whatever it might be. It is just consistently hitting the strike zone. And if you guess right, good things are going to happen for you. And that's what happened to Schwarber. That's what happened to Turner. That's what happened throughout the game. That's what happened to Harper as well. And throughout the game, that's what the Phillies were able to do through the first 5 innings of this game. It was spectacular. So ambush, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It was sheer dominance last night. Sheer dominance. I believe this is Kyle Schwarber talking about coming to the plate. Just with the great anticipation, especially after Zach Wheeler goes out there and dominates in that first inning. Kyle Schwarber wanted to keep that kind of momentum going.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is obviously Wheels went out there, great first inning, and fans are into it, and you're wanting to kind of hop right on Gallen there, and I'm sure he didn't mean to, to throw it where the location was, but was able to put a good swing on it. And, it just gets the crowd, wow, talk about a fun crowd where, you're around the bases, you're looking around and you're seeing a frenzy, and it can put an extra, just an extra layer onto what an atmosphere is already. And, Trey goes out there, puts a really good swing on the ball, and then Hart follows up with another home run and adds on to another layer. So can't say enough about what the crowd was tonight. They were with us all entire night, and looking forward to getting back here tomorrow.
I don't know if this is fair or not. I think it is. You could give me your own judgment. I know a lot of people last night were doing the comparison between the Eagles and the Phillies, and thank God we have the Phillies, and I needed this after the Phillies or after the Eagles and all that stuff. And I can identify with a lot of that. As I mentioned earlier, you would have loved to have had just an easy game. The Phillies ended up making it a little bit more interesting than it should have been, obviously. But you need a little bit of that pick-me-up. But there ain't no crowd like a baseball crowd, man. Basketball, it's not as much there. Football, it's not as much there. I'm talking about on TV, part of the show. Football, the game is the star of the show, and everything else, a distant second. Far, far distant second. But in baseball, you really feel it. There's always crowd shots, and you can always hear them. Like in football, literally, offenses are on the field, and a home crowd is supposed to be quiet. Like I could never imagine that in baseball, especially in a baseball postseason game. Football, you get a lot of more of the signs in the stands. I mean, you certainly don't. You certainly get that in baseball. I'm not saying you don't, but I just feel like in baseball, the crowd is so much more a part of it. And during the play, you can always see the crowd. That is not the case in football, and that is the biggest difference. I see a guy at home plate. I see the crowd behind him. I see a play being made to first base, and you can see the crowd. The crowd is always part of the game. So you're always seeing their reactions. And the best part about it is, I liken it to this. If you can throw a 50-yard touchdown pass and you can see the crowd stand up as the ball's going in the air to the receiver downfield, that would be like a baseball home run swing. There's something about that. Now, the fans, again, at Citizens Bank Park are already standing, so you already see that. But again, that too comes through the TV. I tell you all that to just reiterate that every single game, the crowd at Citizens Bank Park is a major part of the storyline. It's not like Atlanta, where they're a part of the storyline simply because they're throwing things on the field. That's a little different. But in Citizens Bank Park, you hear it from the announcers every single game. It really does remind me, in terms of affecting the game, specifically affecting the game, it reminds me of the Eagles going on that 2017 run to the Super Bowl, where you guys were taking over stadiums on the road, and Eli Manning his own players couldn't hear his snap count, and they actually caused a false start in a goal line situation. And Eli actually came out after the game and said, yeah, the guys couldn't hear me. I don't know what I was supposed to do. Yeah, because Eagles fans took over MetLife Stadium. You can have that impact in football. But in baseball, as far as being part of the show as the show is going on, it is nonstop. And you can really feel it as it comes through the TV. And I'm sure if you're down there, it is absolutely electric. Going down there for playoff games, going down there last year, it's just a sense that when you see the stadium, you get out of the subway or you park your car and you get out and that buzz is just in the air. It absolutely, when you get into the ballpark and get to the standing area in front of your seat, because you ain't using that seat, it is something spectacular. And Kyle Schwarber taking over for Zach Wheeler after the dominance he showed in the first inning, giving up the hit and then shutting it down after that. And then Kyle Schwarber getting that first pitch and putting it into the bleachers. It looked like it was off the facing of the second deck in right field. Nothing's better than that. One thing's better than that. Getting another home run in that first inning. The birthday boy himself, Bryce Harper, blowing out the candles. Did anyone else not get it? The 31 and blowing out the candles? I didn't know what was going on there. I was like, what is he doing? What is four? Why didn't he just use that? And then they didn't. I don't think Brian Anderson, the announcer, got it either. And then I think Ron Darling, or maybe it was Frenchie, maybe it was Jeff Francoeur that had to explain it. I believe that's 31. Oh, thank you. But man, it is absolutely incredible down there. The biggest party is at Citizens Bank Park right now. And we'll get a little bit of that in our morning rush. But later in the game, you have Nick Castellanos go up there. He hits his home run. Bryce Harper goes up there. He gets an RBI single, bringing in Trey Turner after a one-out double. And then here's where I'm at as far as this Sir Anthony Dominguez fellow goes. I think I'm done. I would start using Orion Kerkering in more pressure-packed situations than what the Phillies have used him into this point. It doesn't have to be a 10-2 ball game for Orion Kerkering to work his way in there. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes out there in the seventh inning and immediately starts giving you some trouble. He only lasts 2/3 of an inning. He uses 15 pitches. Only 7 of those pitches were for strikes. He issues 1 walk in that seventh inning, and it just felt like an eternity watching him try to get through that inning. That is not exactly what I am going after in a playoff bullpen appearance for Sir Anthony Dominguez. That's not exactly what I want to see. He walks Walker right out of the gate. Looked like he hit him, and I guess they ruled it. Yeah, no, a walk. Moreno goes up there. He grounds into the fielder's choice, which is back to Sir Anthony Dominguez, to which Sir Anthony Dominguez then throws into center field, despite a diving Bryson Stott. At this point, it's a 5-2 ball game. But now you got runners on first and third with nobody out. He gets Gurriel to line out to second base, hits the ball in the screws. Stott almost doubles up Moreno at first base. Ends up not happening, but it was close. They go to review. They originally called it that he was doubled up. They review it. He was not. So Dominguez still got some work to do. Then Thomas hits the sacrifice fly to right center field. Here's the issue with that play. Since Yohan Rojas has been up, he gets anything he can get to, he catches. That's nobody else's ball. It's Rojas' ball or nobody's ball. And then for the first time, I see confusion between Yohan Rojas and Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos, knowing Rojas gets to everything, is running to his right with Rojas running to his left, and they're meeting in right center field. And Castellanos, you saw it, looked up, and you could see that he was surprised that Rojas wasn't going to catch that baseball. Rojas pulls up and lets his right fielder take it, and Castellanos is like, oh, okay, boom. And it happened real quick, makes the catch, they fire it in. The run scores, obviously, but it could have been a lot worse with that confusion in right field. Fortunately, it wasn't. So now it's a 5-3 ball game. At this point, they start playing the chess match. Rivera goes to hit for Smith. Smith goes to hit for Longoria, and then Rivera goes to hit for Smith. Alvarado is able to get Rivera out with a ground out to the shortstop to Trey Turner at that spot to preserve the 5-3 lead. But it did not start out well for Jose Alvarado. He got down 2-0 count, made it a 2-1 count, then a 3-1 count, and then he was able to get Rivera to ground a sinker up the middle to get out of that inning. So that was good. But as far as Sir Anthony Dominguez goes, I think I'm good for a while. He appears to be shaken and stirred as a bullpen arm coming out there. Then you got Alvarado coming back out for the 7th inning, and he's just awesome. Marte gets a single off him, but that's all he gave up. This is the only hit he gave up in an inning in the 3rd. That's what I'd like to say. And then Craig Kimbrell coming out there for the 9th inning. It was set up perfectly. Absolutely set up perfectly. Gets Walker to strike out. Unfortunately, walks Moreno, and then the Phillies are able to handle that and turn the double play again with Alec Boehm handling that at the hot corner. So all in all, love what I saw from the Phillies and love what I saw from this baseball team going forward. Hopefully we'll love what we see from this baseball team going forward, and you're set up right now. One more thing I wanted to get to you guys. This is Kyle Schwarber. Just talking about the anticipation of going to the plate and what it's like going to the plate in a playoff atmosphere like Citizens Bank Park.
There and set a tone like you did.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I like, being able to lead off a game. It's it's a fun thing when you step into you're walking up to the plate, and next thing you know, 46,000 people are getting on their feet and ready to rock and roll. And you're looking to set a tone. If that's like you said, a home run, if it's a walk, if it's a single, whatever it is, to try to get on base for these guys behind me. So, yeah, it's a really special thing. Those are things I'm not going to forget ever. Whenever I'm done playing, is walking up to the plate in these playoff games and hearing these crowds roar.
You got to get chills every time you're walking to the plate when you hear these guys. You got to get chills every single time. So here's what you got coming up for tonight. 8:07 start time. Phillies and Diamondbacks get after it. If you're looking at the American League Championship Series, the Astros have now fallen in an 0-2 hole to the Rangers, despite a attempt to come back last night that fell short 5-4. Rangers up 2-0 in that series. Phillies, I think, go up 2-0 after tonight. The interesting situation you have here with this Nola versus Merrill game tonight is that both guys have pitched against the other team before. They have one start under their belt. Merrill Kelly gets the start. Both right-handed pitchers going tonight. Nola, if you remember his start, gave up a 3-run home run in Arizona, but they won. Kelly took a loss to the Phillies in a tight ball game. This is both back in the June series that the Phillies and Diamondbacks had in Arizona. That was kind of the beginning of the Phillies' great run that they had throughout the month of June and into July. A little bit of a wall in August, but kept on keeping on. Continued well in August and then hit a little bit of a wall there in September. Had that, 4-game losing streak in September, but it really all started in this early parts of June. And that June 14th start in Arizona that Merrill Kelly made, it was a 4-3 Phillies win in 10 innings. He went 6 innings, allowing 3 runs on 3 hits. He did give up a home run. That was JT Realmuto's home run that he blasted like 420 feet to help the Phillies win that ball game. But you've also seen in that series, you also saw in that series, Aaron Nola, again, one of those situations where he was pitching great and then long ball, and this one came with 2 runners on. So he actually went 6 2/3, allowing 4 runs in that start, but was able to get the win. I think it was his 5th win of the season. But these guys have faced each other before. These teams have faced each other before, and it should be an interesting situation there today. Merrill Kelly, excuse me, is 35-year-old veteran right-handed pitcher. Been around the block a few times. I just don't. Everything is pointing to the Phillies winning this game, except history. The Phillies just don't win game 2. Now, there was some confusion about this. It's 2 in Philly, it's 3 in Arizona, and it's 2 in Philly if necessary. That's the format. Somebody was saying it was changed last night and confused the hell out of me, and I double-checked it. Yes, definitely 2-3-2. The thing here with the Phillies, I don't see how you beat Aaron Nola tonight. I don't see how you outdo this lineup tonight. And I don't see, if you're Merrill Kelly, I don't see how you overcome the crowd and the atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park. You could try to ignore it, but man, that crowd just doesn't let up. And I'll tell you one thing. The only time that I didn't hear Citizens Bank Park was after Sir Anthony Dominguez threw that ball into center field in the 7th inning. And then what happened after that? Bryson Stott catches the line drive and doubles up Moreno at first base. Then they review it. And I was like, you know what? You can have that out. We'll give that one back to you because this crowd is making noise again. Not that they were ever completely quiet, not that they were out of the game or anything stupid like that. But you could definitely hear the crowd really start to get amped up again. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then, of course, it was a sac fly RBI to right center field, and then Alvarado came in and slammed the door. But from that point, it was like, all right, you know what? This crowd got juiced. They got that flow back. So that was great. But, yeah, Nola has just been great so far this postseason. Looking at the numbers from Aaron Nola so far this postseason, he has been the guy that is looking, as I said earlier, was looking to cash in that big check, that big fat check in the postseason. And he can certainly rewrite a lot of what he has done in the regular season right now in the postseason. Kelly's got 1 start under his belt in the postseason. He did win that start. 6 innings, 6 1/3, struck out 5, walked 2, 3 hits is what he gave up in his most recent start. That's what I didn't give you. I wanted to give you the 12-8 on the season with a 3.29 ERA is what he's bringing to the table. But, yeah, it was against the Dodgers. It was 6 1/3, 3 hits, scoreless, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and an 11-2. It was the 11-2 Diamondbacks victory there. So there you go. All right, that's 8:07 tonight, game 2 of the NLCS. And how do you pick against the Phillies at this point? How do you pick against the Phillies? All right, let's move on and talk about your Philadelphia Eagles. As per usual, listening to Nick Sirianni yesterday during his press conference, you don't really get a lot of information. Jimmy Kempski asked him point blank, did you let him score that final touchdown of the game? Maybe we did. Yeah, no kidding. All right. And he also didn't really give a lot of information about Lane Johnson, didn't give a lot of information about anybody that was injured, Reed Blankenship, Darius Slay, Jalen Carter, all that stuff. But the report did come out from Adam Schefter saying that Lane Johnson's injury is not as bad as originally expected. So that's a great thing. Jack Driscoll's numbers yesterday were horrifying. We'll get to those in a second. But one of the main things, other than the turnovers and Jalen Hurts playing and making the decisions that were just atrocious yesterday or Sunday, was play calling. I told you guys repeatedly there's 2 big questions I have about this Philadelphia Eagles team, and they have names. Question number 1 is Sean Desai. Question number 2 is Brian Johnson. That was going into the season. Question number 1 has been answered. Sean Desai is one hell of a defensive coordinator. Brian Johnson, I don't know what he is doing sometimes as a play caller. I don't get it. That Rams game, I love the play call, the fake screen to Dallas Goedert as A.J. Brown breaks down the sideline. Love it. But I can't think of too many other plays that really jump out to me. Be like, wow, this is a really great play call there. Wow, the hat tip. Brian Johnson. The lack of RPOs that we've seen in the past. I think Jalen Hurts thrives with that. And for whatever reason this year, they want to get away from it. It was pretty incredible in a negative way to see the way their offense just wasn't able to click. And yes, anytime you give the ball away 4 times, it's going to look like you don't have a lot of rhythm, a lot of flow to your offense. But I look at that fourth quarter, and I just wonder what the hell happened. 5:32 remaining in the second quarter, and you can't get any more points on the board. Even if Jake Elliott makes that field goal, all you could get was 3 points. You couldn't get in the end zone again against this Jets team. I also don't understand how this team, I believe, does have the ability to run the ball at anybody. And they failed to be able to do that against this Jets team. And they got a good front four, obviously. But damn. You can't run to the left side of the line of scrimmage away from Jack Driscoll at right tackle with Lane Johnson only playing 9 snaps Sunday. You can't have a better scheme than what you had in that second half. I understand their secondary was banged up, so that was the weak point. You want to expose that. Well, it wasn't really working for you. And then listening to the Jets talk about how they would show blitz to Jalen Hurts and then drop back in coverage. Did you guys hear this? After the game, the Jets were talking about defending against Jalen Hurts and saying that if they showed blitz and then immediately dropped back, the ball would be right in their chest. And that's exactly what happened. Jalen Hurts' 5th to last throw of the game on the interception return, setting up the walk-in touchdown there. I don't like that even a little bit. So the play calling, the lack of adjustments that we usually talk about offensively speaking, was bad. It was very, very bad. But here's Nick Sirianni yesterday. Now, hang with me here, all right? Nick Sirianni, this is a very Nick Sirianni-esque answer to the question about what do you think about the play call. After watching the film, what do you think about the play calling of Brian Johnson? I didn't edit this because I wanted you guys to hear the whole thing, the way it was delivered. I didn't edit it for time because I think sometimes with the talking in circles, you get a little bit more information. The way it's delivered is a lot better than just reading it off a page. So you can hear this from Nick Sirianni on Brian Johnson's play calling.
I thought again, Brian did a nice job. I think when you really look at it, there's some detail things, right? Again, there's always going to be detailed things as coaches you want back. There's always going to be detailed things as players you want back. So there's some detailed things there. And when we talk about a design of a play, you know, I'm always going to take the brunt of that of, hey, this design wasn't good enough. So there definitely was a couple of those that the design of it, I'm like, I didn't really like the design of this play right here. And to me, when that's the case, that's 100% on me. And then as you look at it, it's going to be hard to sustain drives, to score points when you turn the ball over. And the turnovers were all, it was all something different, each one of them, right? It wasn't all on one guy. Jalen gets 3 interceptions to his name, but they're not all on him. They're not all on him. In fact, I only saw one of them that was on Jalen that he'll want back. The other ones were on, other things. And I'm not going to sit here and say this was on this was on. One of them was on me. And then, you all can look at it to see who you think the other one was on. But so I didn't think, again, there's some designs you want back. But again, I think the main issue, I thought Brian did a fine job. And I thought the main issue was obviously anytime you turn the ball, anytime you're -4 in the turnover category, it's going to be tough to win that game, and it's going to be tough to score points, and it's going to be tough to sustain drives.
All right. Did you get all that? It's his fault that Jalen Hurts threw that second interception while he was being hit. I'm going to go ahead and not blame the coach for that one, although it's very nice of him to take responsibility for one of those throws. You see a 3-interception game for a quarterback, and obviously that looks really terrible. The first interception I don't really put on Jalen Hurts. Dallas Goedert couldn't control the football that hit him in the hands. The ball got punched out. The other one, he get hit as he throws, hit as he threw. The third one, the other 2 interceptions, I don't even care about. The third one was so horrifically terrible in decision and throw and reading the defense that it's just like, if that was the only interception he had in the game, that would be enough. And obviously the other 3 turnovers, including the fumble by DeAndre Swift, were obviously very hurtful to the Eagles offense. But as far as Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni goes, I feel like Nick Sirianni really revealed a lot there. He's involved in play calling a lot more than people think. I thought it was 4th down situations. He also took responsibility for the play design, for setup, for game plan like that. That's not good either. This team has so many weapons offensively, and the Jets defense was down 4 starters essentially in the secondary. Sauce Gardner, is not going to be in the game on Saturday, and the Eagles were licking their chops. Oh, we could really get him. We could really get him. And I always say this. You have a situation with your running backs and your offensive line where you have a very talented backfield, especially with DeAndre Swift and DeAndre Swift alone. I think Kenny Gainwell could still run the football. DeAndre Swift playing so much better than Kenny Gainwell, I don't think it means all of a sudden that Kenny Gainwell's terrible. Boston Scott was getting touches. That's not a good look for Kenny Gainwell fans. But when your offensive line is damaged and you don't have Lane Johnson, I think the easier thing to do for an offensive lineman, now this varies. Trey Thomas would always tell me that he preferred pass blocking over run blocking. I think the majority of offensive linemen, especially offensive linemen that are subs, that are guys that are just filling in, like Jack Driscoll, I think he would prefer to run block. And the Eagles barely did that with their running backs. Where's the adjustment with Jack Driscoll going in there as your right tackle? Now, in case you didn't hear the numbers, Jack Driscoll, this is for our friend Jeff Kerr at CBS Sports. Jack Driscoll allowed 7 pressures in 42 pass blocking snaps Sunday. 1 sack, 5 hurries, 16.7% rate allowed. Eagles allowed 19 pressures as a team. He had 7 of them. Not great. Not great. And there was no adjustment to try to run the ball with your running backs? Yeah, I think that does fall on the head coach. I don't think that just falls on the play caller. If you're the head coach, you're responsible for everything. And even in the first year, Sirianni and Gannon, for instance, when people were talking about the defense after that Raiders game, and Fletcher Cox was talking about how that's not his responsibility to talk to the defensive coordinator, which I also thought was bull, but whatever. That's what he said. They eventually got on the same page. Nick Sirianni consistently said, I got my name on everything. I'm the head coach. My name's on everything. Well, then where's your name on the second half adjustment? If you know you don't have Lane Johnson, and you know Jack Driscoll's in the midst of giving up 7 pressures, good God. Just for perspective, like some teams don't have 7 pressures in a game. If that's the way it's going, where's the adjustment there? Where is handing the ball to your running back? Where is handing the ball to DeAndre Swift? Where is handing the ball to Kenny Gainwell? Where is even handing the ball since you were using him in this game, Boston Scott? Where's the read option in that regard? If the edge rusher is going to be beating Jack Driscoll, well, then where's the RPO? Where's bringing that guy in to make the throw downfield or out to the flat, or DeAndre Swift just keeps the ball and runs up the middle? Where's that play? Or Jalen Hurts keeps it, runs to the outside for 10 yards. Over the last 2 games, it looks like he can run better than he has all season. Very disappointing to see the way that played out for the Eagles Sunday. Jeez. very disappointing. And the thing is, usually if I'm disappointed, I'm not mad. I'm definitely both. Not mad, I'm just disappointed. No, I'm both. I'm pissed off at how disappointed I am in the Philadelphia Eagles and losing to the New York Jets. The gosh dang Jets. Oh, good God, man. Swift had 10 carries for 18 yards. Yeah, so it wasn't like the run game was necessarily working, but it's not something I would abandon. Kenny Gainwell had 2 carries. Boston Scott had 2 carries. Yeah, 14 carries with running backs is obviously not ideal, to get that out of the way. All right, before we get into the chat check, let me tell you guys about the wonderful people at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Check out all they have to offer at MyBookie.ag. They are incredible. If you guys are unaware, listen here. Go to MyBookie.ag and take advantage of all the incredible offers they have right now. You want to bet on just about anything? You bet at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. You know, some people, they decide to go with an unheard of site. They decide to go with an unheard of app, and you know what? That'll just get you in trouble. But at MyBookie, they take care of things right now with their incredible offer, like $200, up to $200 cash back at MyBookie.ag when you use promo code Farzy. When your money's on the line, choose a trusted sportsbook that gives you tools to win, like MyBookie. At MyBookie, it doesn't matter if your team is up or down. You can easily cash out or bet the game live to go out on the winning side. Use MyBookie for daily odds boost, same game parlays, and take advantage of huge prize pool contests. Plus, MyBookie has no strings attached cash bonus that lets you deposit and withdraw quick so you can get that money. Use promo code Farzy for your first deposit. That's promo code Farzy for your first deposit and receive up to $200 cash. That's promo code Farzy to claim your cash bonus now. Try MyBookie's money bag to grab a potential Super Bowl frontrunner long shot odds at plus 38,000. Eagles and Chiefs. Plus 38,000. Not too bad. You won't find odds like that anywhere else. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. So take advantage right now. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check. Get it started over here on the Farzy Show channel. See how you guys are doing over here before we hop on over to JAKIB. Sean Kilray, good morning, everyone. Ring the bell. Kenneth Gainwell. T-Bro, 7 more wins. 3 more wins for this series, Fars. Yeah, that's exciting. We're all excited. How excited are we? We're all very excited. Extremely excited. Morning, Farzy. Go Sixers. Good morning. Kenny Gainwell score tonight. What did I say yesterday? I think I said 4-2 yesterday. I did say 4-2 yesterday. Oh, it was pretty close. Tonight's baseball game will feature a score seven to 4. I'm going to go 7-4. Phillies win. Bats stay hot. They don't jump out of the gate, but bats stay hot later. They heat up later. Home runs. I'm going to go Nola gives you probably a quick hook with the day off tomorrow. I'm gonna say Nola does give you 6. I'm gonna say it does give you 6. Labors a little, gives up a home run, but I'm gonna say 6 innings for Nola tonight. He surrenders 2 runs, 104 pitches. Bullpen comes in, gets day off, and everything's over after that. Professor Dutch, I fell asleep after we went up 4-0 and woke up to see the man bun close it out. He does got a bit of a man bun, doesn't he, there, Craig Kimbrell? Professor Dutch, still can't believe we got Kimbrell the Crane. That's funny. Mally! Our OC got Hurts looking like Dak out there. Whoa. Mally. Let's not use obscene language here. What's the matter with you? It's a family show. Good morning, Fighting. What's up, Mike Fuji? Fighting Phils? Hell yeah. Sean Kilrain, I see us trading for Justin Simmons, Surtain for secondary help. I don't put anything past Howie, that's for sure. I wouldn't mind either of those guys, Sean Kilrain. Professor Dutch Burrs will bounce back after getting punched in the mouth like the Phils. I hope so. Mally, I don't know how much more I could take of MLB on TBS. It just feels dirty to me to watch the Phillies on TBS. Because TBS was always the Braves station. The Braves were on TBS every game. Every game. Ted Turner. No, thank you. I don't need that in my market, in my Philadelphia market. And I know it's not new for the Phillies or the postseason to be on TBS. It's not new at all, but that still doesn't mean I have to like it. I think for the most part, Brian Anderson does a good job. Oh, yeah, I asked this question after the show or during the show last night after the game, post-game show. I don't remember booing Nick Castellanos. Apparently we did. Some people are emphatic that we didn't. Some people are emphatic that we did. I don't remember booing Nick Castellanos last year in the World Series. They said last night during the broadcast we booed Nick Castellanos during the World Series. I don't remember booing Nick Castellanos in the World Series. I remember him saving the game with a great catch in right field. I remember him learning how to play right field in the playoffs last year and making sliding catches all the livelong day, but then also being terrible at the plate. But then when the Phillies still hit. So his struggles at the plate were overshadowed by guys who came up in clutch situations, guys like Kyle Schwarber, guys like Bryce Harper, guys like Rhys Hoskins. And then the only thing that Castellanos really did to help you out was make great plays in right field. So when they said that during the game, I was like, I don't remember booing Nick Castellanos as a fan base. I remember people being pissed off that he didn't hit, but I don't remember him getting booed. Anyway. Yeah. That's nice. People are wishing Kenny Gainwell in the chat here. Good luck. April. Good morning, April. Ring the bell. Sean Kilrain, Nicky 3 buttons Castellanos does it again. Love seeing his son Liam. Reaction is priceless. That is pretty awesome. Mally, wait a minute, Farzy on Cliff Lee. Remember, it's just baseball. That's baseball. Cliff Lee and Nick Castellanos went to very similar interview schools. That's baseball. Just go out there, try to throw a strike, throw up zeros. Try to throw up zeros. That's baseball. That's Cliff Lee post-game interview in a nutshell. Sean Kilrain, thoughts on the announcers? Again, I have a blessed talent. I thank God every day for this talent. I rarely hear the announcers. They really have to say something for me to go, I'm sorry, what? Say that again? Well, they booed Nick Castellanos in the World Series. Say what now? But for the most part, I just go, I'm in my own head. Wait, what? Mally, you mean, wait, Freddie Mitchell? What? Mike Fuji, big time. Some big names coming to the third base gate last night. Nakobe Dean, Freddie Mitchell, Michael Barkane in the stands, the Kelsey boys, to name a few. Really, Mike Fuji? Interesting. Freddie Mitchell. I bumped into Freddie Mitchell a couple months ago at Dick's Sporting Goods. I've gotten to know Freddie a little bit over the years. So we stopped and chatted for a little bit, man. He always wants to talk football. We'll get him on the show at some point. But yeah, he loves the social atmosphere. He absolutely does. And good for him, man. He loves the party. And one of the greatest quotes of Philadelphia sports history. I want to thank my hands for being so great. Hey, man, say what you will about Freddie Mitchell. Freddie Mitchell caught the ball. Freddie Mitchell caught the ball, people. Sean Kilrain, I want to see a young arm like O'Ryan. Like I said, Farzy, I think a kid's locked in. I think he's a yeah-whatever guy. Make a major league deal? Yeah, whatever. Pitch in the postseason? Yeah, okay, whatever. Pitch in the 7th inning of a postseason game, 2-run difference. Okay, yeah, whatever. Didn't even know Longoria was still playing. Oh, yeah, Mally, still playing. Haven't heard his name since 2008. He was on the Giants for a while. And yes, it does make me feel insanely old. And it does make me miss the good old days. Especially now that Cole Hamels is retired. Unbelievable. Sean Gillespie, what's going on, man? The Eagles, 7 interceptions so far. Brian Johnson is being outclassed. Probably won't be here next year. It's so infuriating with talent on this team. I agree. Phillies win tonight 6-2. Nola pitches into the 7th. All right, go Phils. I'll take that, Sean Kilrain. Sean Gillespie, it's whoever promoted Brian Johnson's fault. IBH, unfortunately, I don't think Brian Johnson is going anywhere if they refuse to fire Gannon. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a one and done for Brian Johnson. And worse, you know what they would do? They would just take the play calling away from him. That's what they would do. And look, yes, it's too much of a knee-jerk reaction to lose one game and go, I think they should take the play calling away from Brian Johnson. Although, admittedly, I have had my criticisms of him throughout the first 5 games of the season, let alone the 6th game of the season. But it did cross my mind. It's like, okay, well, if he can't do it, who does it next? Because apparently Sirianni doesn't want to do it and can't do it. Professor, it's time to update the Phillies fandom songs. High Hopes is antiquated? No. Oh, Dancing on My Own is a loser song. I agree with you. I don't know why the Phillies bring that back, but it worked. He's in the corner dancing harder so someone else's date will see it. That's a great point, Professor Dutch. But they should take High Hopes. High Hopes should be the 7th inning song. What do they have at Fenway? They have Sweet Caroline. At the Mets, they have Lazy Mary. You know, Che la luna, benzamare, mamma mia, you know that song? Second stanza. If you know, you know. The Phillies should have High Hopes. High Hopes should be still play Harry Callis after on the big board, you know, obviously. But the whole stadium sings beautifully together. Just listen to them going, hey-oh, hey-oh, okay. Hey-oh, hey-oh, okay. It's beautiful. It's a chorus. Anyway, that's just my dumb thought. Detroit versus Miami for the Super Bowl. Gross. April, I said the same thing last night. I hated being on TBS. I still think the Braves channel too. See that, April? You and me. Sean Gillespie. FredEx works there? No, he was shopping. I think he said he was killing time. Like, I think he had to pick up his kid or something like that. They were at some practice and he something. I don't know. Personal stuff. Don't even want to get into it. But yeah, there you go. And I got to do it. All right, let's jump over to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, see how you guys are going. All right, now this is weird. Jim, are you seeing this? On our channel, we Gucci, okay? I flip over to JAKIB, and I'm blurry. Well, what's that about? And it's not just you. I'm not saying this is a you thing. When I do post-game, I look at the YouTube channel, and I'm blurry. I'm like, what the hell is with that? I don't like that. Joshua Simmer over on JAKIB. I didn't know Bryce was doing that at first either until they said it. Thank you. Simmer, they went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Just saying. That's true. Takeem. What's up, Takeem? Yeah. If you beat the Braves, then you're supposed to go to the World Series. Thank you. That's a great point. I'm an Eagles fan and Braves fan too. What? How is that allowed in your circle of friends, Takeem? Anyway, thanks everyone in the chat. You guys are great. Much appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, the Dallas Cowboys won last night against the LA Chargers. 20-17. That's how that went down. Eagles now gearing up for the Miami Dolphins. We'll see if anything goes down today. Possible trades as well as signings going on with the Eagles. And then it's a Merrill Kelly versus Aaron Nola start today in South Philadelphia. That's what's going down tonight. This could be a battle of experience, post-season experience. Aaron Nola, obviously, nice experience last year going into the World Series. Good experience this year pitching into the NLCS. Merrill Kelly has made one start in the postseason. It was that start against the LA Dodgers last week. So that's what you got going on tonight. 8:07 start time. Be there, be square. I'll be with you guys for Phillies postgame, Fightins postgame on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel right after the game, just like I've been through all the season. And, of course, we'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning here for the Farzy Show as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is brought to you by the great people of MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Be back with you guys tonight, hopefully after a 2-0 series lead for your Philadelphia Phillies in the NLCS. Jim Hyde, producer program, did a wonderful job. Be back with you guys tonight. See you then. Bye.